All right, today we have with us Joel Walkowski. He enters the archives in 2012. Here you go.
All right, we're just going right into it. Merry Christmas. Here's your present.
I'm taking pictures of you. I'm taking pictures of everything. A woman likes to roam. A woman likes to everything.
This weighs more than I would expect it to weigh.
Yeah.
Is there a piece of lead hidden in here? And I just want to say I'm really happy to be here with you, to just be the eyes of like an art form in like New York for like what, a generation and a half. Like that's a significant achievement. So
Thank you.
this is my real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
And then here we are, Joel Walkowski's Mindy Comedy Archive. So here we start. There we go. Comedians off the leash. I did this show. I was a side character. It was like an 80s like pastiche. And I had a falling out with this gentleman because it was the first time I got my life threatened, and it was also how I got booked on Kabin, where like he would just sneak in and shoot his promos on the Creek stage, but made a big mess with it. And I was like, hey, I think Rebecca has a show going. And then, you know, he was really upset with that. He has a grudge against me. He will leave angry comments on this very video because of that.
Whoa. Well, I will say, we're gonna edit things, so maybe
Maybe
this
we
is
won't.
one we edit.
But this was like sketch comedy, pretending to do blow, and then making a mess of the Creek, which over the years, I loved to make a mess. No one made more messes on comedy stages than me. And this was early on in my tenure. I moved here because I was I was a simpleton. I moved here without ever doing an open mic. I was like, I'm going to do stand up. Before that, I was a street performer in Vallejo, California. And, that artistic flourish, it found me in the right people at the Creek and Cave.
Yeah. Yeah.
We keep flipping.
Yep.
And here I'm just, it's my, it's very much, I'm ahead looming in the background. We see Kevin Barnett, like one of the funniest, one of the nicest guys. And like, there's just such a whole pipeline that he influenced and like put them on their way. So like, I think watching Kevin Barnett be a star was like fair for this point in history. And like, you can even see the progression is like, I'm getting up the nerve to speak.
Wow. Yeah.
And then, do we have a Creek Awards? This
Oh,
has to be a Creek Awards.
yeah, we're heading to the Creek
Where
Awards.
this guy, Evan Davis, like, I think he contributed to the Creek Kickstarter. I don't know if there's a way to shorten that.
Yeah.
But he's like, I want to put on an award show. And for me at the time, it was like, this is the Oscars. Like, it was such a big deal to me. And that's Eli Sayers, who I did a lot of comedy with. And like, Eli's an interesting one. Eli's who I learned comedy from, but he like, son of a Mennonite preacher. Like when I met him, he was sleeping on like 26 mats he got from a kindergarten instead of a bed.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, this guy has it all figured out. So we had a sketch troupe that was like, I think we'll probably get to a little bit. That was sort of a street gang. But Eli, I'll say like, he became like a really wonderful activist. So in like comedy, you see people's lives develop in all these interesting ways. Like Eli, like his work with like mutual aid is like really inspiring. I think his politics are great. And like he continues to be an inspiration in a lot of different ways. Edward Dominguez is the greatest comedian who ever lived. He didn't get his like acclaim, but like I'll still like quote his jokes where like, I like Miss Pac-Man better than Pac-Man because Pac-Man's like, ew balls, and Mrs. Pac-Man is I think he was doing that bit in this photo, actually. What belt am I wearing? Yeah, you can see I didn't quite know how to dress yet. It's a very ill-fitting suit. I think I wore a satchel to an award show. Here we are. Creek Awards, Mateo Lane, two of the great jacked guys in comedy, I will say. just shredded. Well, I'm more jacked, he's more shredded, but two great physiques. We split the award for best Kabin newcomer, and I think things worked out equally well for us both. He doesn't have his face on billboards or anything, but some of us write esoteric books, and that's something we can embrace. Mateo's a great guy, and sometimes you see raw talent where
Yeah.
Mateo was going to be a superstar at anything he did. There's his vocal talents, which is a natural transition to stand up, where it's just he has a physical competency that he turns into an act, but also his illustration work, his cooking,
Yeah.
his workout regime. That might be one of the most able people who's ever existed. And I think we were lucky to have him in comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, we were. Yeah, I think he belted the hits kind of always, I feel like. We got to hear him sing. And one time he did do a drawing of me. When we have him in, well, I still have their drawing. We'll do it, yeah.
Yeah, today have him sign it. That'll be worth some money. If things hit the fan, you can sell that Mateo Lane merch. That's good. And then here we have my beloved Wildcats. So this act, we were a sketch group, but we were really a street gang. So what would happen is there would be another show going on, Ball with the Ball would hit, and we would take over the show. We'd come in, we'd crush beer cans, and we'd do kind of Three Stooges mix, edgelord Three Stooges, where a good joke that the Wildcats would do is our biggest comedic influence is the kids in the hall. That's what we call the Columbine shooters. So
And just so we follow along, we're now in September of 2013.
September 2013. So we would always wear leather and denim, and we would accentuate that with, the physical gift of cutting off penises. One time we liquefied a fish, and how people shoot fireballs? We shot fish balls over the audience, and the bar for this show, it was pretty beloved at the Creek, but we would always try and get walkouts where we'd try and gross people out of it. Whereas it's just that's still my favorite thing I've ever done was being a part of this group.
Yeah, you guys were a cohesive unit for sure.
And then Jeff, who's one of the great comedians, probably the best of the era who didn't make it. He just became a millionaire software developer. So he does, yeah, him and his wife are in Montclair, New Jersey. Jeff, but he's still brilliant. Jeff has the best writing discipline of anyone. He's 4 hours pen to paper every day. He wrote a novel from the perspective of Jim Jones, just transcribing his sermons. So I think one day he'll be revered as a genius, but he's also a very shy person. So he didn't know that, because with comedy, with anything, you need to kind of step into the spotlight and be oh, this is the work I'm doing, and just kind of afraid to do that, which happens with some people.
Right. One of the things I think or one of the things I'm interested in exploring with everyone is not everyone can or should become a national touring comedian, right? Nor should every single person become a writer for late night, right? There are still things that you learn while you're in this community and doing these performances that I do think are very much transferable skills. And also, I think there are things that come back in your life where maybe you're not a professional comedian, but maybe it's in your profession somehow. So I'm as interested in people who are no longer doing weekly shows as I am people who are touring right now, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because New York comedy, it took in the orphans, and I was raised by the creek and the cave. I didn't have a lot of life skills. I was legally barred from having a bank account.
Oh.
And I got sued by Major League Baseball. So every mistake someone can make, I come from feral Detroit people. And so the Creek of the Cave, it developed me not only as a comedian, but as someone who can have a bank account where I didn't.
Whoa.
And, you get to a point where it's like, oh, you get good at something, but it's also you have the agency to ask, what does the life I want look like? And the life of a touring comedian for everyone, like, is that really the life you want? Like spending every weekend in a Holiday Inn in Milwaukee. So there's a grind to it.
Yeah.
And like I personally I sought out more stability, like as a reaction to like what I never had, because like the tumult of comedy is like very much what I found in my personal life. So I was very at home there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's we're gonna break things and it smells like sewage. Perfect. I'm home. Hans and Franz, stick or treat.
Yeah, so this is Shtick or Treat 2013.
And that's with the great Matt Wayne. And I think we both just recently did a modeling gig that Doug Smith gave us where like you get like a box of clothes that's tailored to, and they're just things that like Ross Dress for Less is throwing out, but we had to like act it. And like we kind of fell off for a few years, but we actually in this space, we were both in Chris Welty's wedding together, and Welty had a meltdown the whole day. So Matt Wayne and I, we got close. We're both sober after all these years. And like I think we dealt with a lot of like where, like, we went from this to, like, both of us were able to connect over, like, we had really hard stuff with our parents and the life things. We're just like, this seed right here created, like, a bridge to so many meaningful conversations that happened 13 years later. So that's
Yeah.
what I think is interesting. And, of course, I do like to have I would do a lot of strength things. Here he is sitting on my back while I do push-ups. I like to do an act called feats of emotional strength where, like kind of inspired by this, I would have people sit on my back. I would do push-ups as they tell me my flaws. So,
Whoa.
yeah, so like an old-timey strongman sort of thing.
Wow. That's great.
And then here I am just being cute.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
That's backstage at, I wanna say Littlefield was where we did Shtick that year.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like, oh, memory lane, but this is just like, I really miss that hoodie. I think my eyes really popped. Like a teal hoodie. Let's go.
Yeah, it does look good.
And then I do, of course, I I played Rebecca Trent, who, a lot of people really were afraid of her. I was one of her chosen ones. So, like, I would get invited upstairs, would smoke a little pot in her apartment and talk about how funny James Adomian was, like, every time. But we did Revenge of the Body Snatchers, which is like stick or treat. You make fun of famous comedians. Body Snatchers is you make fun of the local people in the scene. And, like, a lot of people have good humor on it. A lot of people don't, which I
Yeah.
figured out in that.
Yeah. Someone once imitated me, and it was the nicest, most sweetest thing that ever happened, and when I saw her dressed up as me, I, like, almost cried, and, like, she really had it down. It was, like, black boots, black dress, like, she had a wig with
And
my hair.
and it's easy to put on the accent, right? Like, for someone impersonating you, like it goes.
Yeah.
But that was the interesting thing is like not only you, but like audience people would imitate like prominent audience members, like that guy. I think his name was Kenneth. He'd always show up with a foldable bike.
Foldable bike guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone played him sitting in the front row,
Oh, that's great. I miss that.
and like I miss having a clubhouse.
Very much.
Like, when the creek closed, it was just like, "Oh, that 3rd place," and, like, comedy's awesome, shows are great, but, like, just having the one I think we're missing that one place to congregate.
Yeah, that's part of why we're doing this series now is kind of looking at what did we have, how do we use it, who benefited, and when we think about rebuilding, what are the things that are important to keep in mind. But yeah, physical space where people can just spontaneously interact, and just run into your friends at the creek. It was great.
Yeah, and, like, people would, like, call it, like, "Oh, it's the CBGBs of comedy," and I think they were right. Like, to just have a stage and a time and someone running tech for your show, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
There was no supervision, there was no vetting process. If you were in good standing in community, It's almost like a co-op sort of feeling where you could use the podcast studio. You could put on a weekly, and, like, it seems like now there's more barriers to entry for young artists where, like, it's discouraging. If I'm 26 years old, I'm being asked to send my follower account to UCB, like, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I think another important point about the creek is that there was the stage downstairs, and I think the fact that you could come in for an open mic at a certain level of comedy, and you're there for the open mic, and then you can just go and look at the show upstairs for free, and just kinda, like, when Colin Quinn is dropping in or whatever, and just, like, I think it's an important part of your artistic practice to be working out, but then also watching, um, people who are ahead of you, you know?
Yeah, and it's also you get to see the work ethic because you see someone kill upstairs, then go downstairs and do the open mic, where it's just like, oh, they're not done after one set. They're still honing, they're still creating, where like you get that repetitions in practice that you witness every week.
Yeah.
Like every Friday show, that would be evident. And that's a testament to how long the downstairs open mics were.
Yeah, they were quite long.
And then, we did do musical numbers at Revenge of the Body Snatchers. So everyone was having a good time singing. And then I think we have multiple Eric Bergstroms there, who's easy to imitate. Nick Nanny doing his thing. I don't know the right pace to flip through these photos. So
I think it's like when you have something to say it, and when you just wanna flip, just flip, and if there's a photo you don't wanna talk about, throw it elsewhere.
talk about, I mean, I have an addiction memoir coming out. I can't be like, oh, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah,
Like my book unpacks a lot of very serious things. So like if I say like I have to be an open book, I'm literally trying to sell people an open book.
yeah.
That'd be hypocritical. I might be 6'3", 240 pounds, but I'm a very ravishing lady. I will say that. Like the cheekbones are popping, and like even though the shoulders are big, they kind of work here.
Yeah, yeah, you look good.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, just like so I was in Puerto Rico 2 weeks ago for like my high school girlfriend's bachelorette. She's named Diana. We all dressed up like Lady Di one night, different princesses, and like I was still getting whistles for these shoulders. So that's the way. And then, oh wow, here we are being spoofed by Joe Pera and Dan Licata.
Yep.
They're spoofing the Wildcats, and it's just fun to see, like, that amount of reverie. And, like, I don't know, Joe is such an interesting person because he's paired with Dan, and Dan's so off the wall, but, like, Joe definitely had that gear where, I mean, I think we got to know Joe, like, someone had, like, sorry, a pocket pussy at the creek that got stolen. And we really tried to prove that Joe had taken it. He didn't, but like he was so cool with the bit that it was fine.
Yeah, I will say there are some photos that I took out of this set, as a courtesy because it's people's backsides.
Oh, sure. And there was a lot of nudity and like doing the Wildcat shows, like, you'd see Eli Sayers' penis a lot. Like, and like, he was just like, hey, we can see your penis. Like, yeah, those are the shorts I wear. It wasn't like I need to fix it. It's like, yeah, that's how we do it. And, you talk about like people, there's like a longing for being a millennial in 2013. And is that not proven here? Here's the reverie with Danny Cruz, Will Miles, Rojo. And like to know Rojo for 15 years has been awesome. Rojo taught me to play basketball, and basketball is like the primary social circle in my life. So like knowing Rojo even to this day is awesome.
Yeah, he's a delight.
He's a delight. And all but when not really on the basketball court because we've come so far that like the New York Times wrote a profile of my basketball game. So when I stopped drinking, I was like, I'm gonna play basketball every Sunday night. I think even when I booked this, like, hey, I'd love to do it. I'd move heaven and earth, but I'm gonna play ball at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And like I started doing that when I stopped drinking. And like Rojo, as a little point guard, he was always yelling at me, and like he kind of developed me as a player in my in my like early 20s. And here we are just having the time of our lives, hamming it up. And like, you get the Mindy camera, you're gonna ham it up. Like, and
Yeah.
like, you must be so good at like detecting social cues of people kind of asking you to take their photo without asking you.
Yeah, yeah, sometimes people really, really want you to take their picture, and sometimes they're in a moment where they're preparing for a show, and they maybe don't want that, and I do try to be really sensitive to that. But yeah, sometimes like last night I was in a situation where I really needed to get inside because there was a taping that was about to start and I could tell that like if I didn't run right then, that thing was going to happen where like 10 people wanted a photo right in a row. I will say a photo like this is harder and harder for me to get because people want like that standalone picture.
You're a credit.
And yeah, and I get that, I'm super, sensitive to that, and, I want to give that to you, but it's harder and harder to get a candid, and I really want, I want to establish. Like, last night, I was at the gutter, and I was trying to get a photo of where the sign says "bar," and then there were, like, 10 friends hanging out, and I just kinda had to use an old Richard Avedon trick and, like, take a bunch of photos until they stopped looking at the camera and doing this,
Yeah.
so, like, to get the establishing shot that I wanted, which is we're all here in this venue together, and these are all the people who showed up to support this taping, and, like, in the moment, it's too hard to explain that, so I just shoot a bunch and then take the picture that I actually think is, like, necessary in the archives, but
Yeah, and your job is to capture reality, but you become known. So now that you need to develop the skill of like, I need to manipulate things so they're giving me reality. Like people know me, they want my headshots, they're gonna use on promos. Can you please relax? So let's talk for 10 minutes and you can put your guard down so I can
yeah,
get some snaps in.
yeah, so I can get something that's not I get this.
And that is like the default. Like, I don't know, like I'm always throwing up sideways peace signs. I don't even know where sideways peace signs
I don't
developed.
know.
It's an epidemic.
They've come back the last year or so, I'm getting a lot of which is, like, so 1998, I don't know, anyway.
Yeah, and I do just like as Lauren Vino, she was my girlfriend for a few years. God bless her. I think she's doing well in Chicago. And like, you have these little like you have these open mic relationships that like develop into like we dated for a few years and like we have a falling out, but then like, you know, Kenny DeForest passed away and like it was really hard for everybody. But it led to us just having like a beautiful conversation and just like putting all that behind us and like you know, I think really just like appreciating the moment in time where like no relationship I've been in has been bad. They've all left me better than they found me. And like, I think that's like maturity and adulthood is just like, see, like, oh, we developed together. We were puppies and God bless us for that.
That's a great way of looking at it, I'm happy to hear that.
Oh, of course. Like I have so little animosity towards anyone. I don't know about we did talk about Kenneth, and my only takeaway is, like, I think my teeth have gotten straighter here. Like, they got better. And then, like, man, Jake Young got a lot of mileage out of this hat. I know that's a picture of me and Mateo hanging out, but we saw a lot of that hat. When is this from? Do you have the date?
Yeah, so this is Underbelly.
Oh, Underbelly, one of the great shows where like comedians asked to do everything but stand up. I loved doing Underbelly. It was my favorite show. I think it was everybody's favorite show. And here we are. It's just me bonding with Mateo a lot. Here we are holding hands.
This is gonna be
Here,
at
here we are embracing.
yeah,
And this has got to be a 51st joke.
51st Jokes at the Bell House, January of 2014.
And you know, I am these days. I work in the addiction space. I've been sober for like 10 years, and when people come in and there is a relapse, I can always tell on their skin, and I can tell quickly that like I've stopped drinking. Like in this photo, like I just feel so healthy. like,
Oh,
looking at it.
you were sober here?
On and off. It was, like, 14 to 16 a little bit, and then 16 it took for me. I
Wow.
threw up blood. But
Oh,
oh, yeah. I mean, you don't write an addiction memoir without proving it.
wow. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So you've been sober.
I've been sober since 2016, but, like, even then, you look at the skin when you're, like, a counselor. So, like, you can if someone's relapsed, I can tell based on, like, their cheeks, their forehead before they even tell me.
Wow.
I guess you don't get sunburned because that makes my job harder, but apart from that, it's fine. And, like, 51st Jokes, what a great show, and, like, it's kinda like the comedy all-star game, where if you got to do 51st Jokes, like, it's like, "Oh, I'm recognized by my community. I'm one of the ones that matter," and this was my first time doing it, and, you know, awesome. And then even here, I'm drinking, I don't think I look as good here. If we look at the side by side, I look healthier in one photo than this one.
Yeah.
Okay, and I did say there was gonna be penises, and here are penises. So the Wildcats, this was an awesome show. So our big partner Ron Krasnow, he had cancer, and we did a fundraiser for Ron's cancer. But the big conceit was the show is that at the end we gave all the money to someone dressed as a tumor. Or it's like, hey, we raised the money for cancer, but like you deal with real life things. And Ron had chemo and he couldn't make it, so we had to have Adam Sokol hold the sign that said Ron that whole night. He passed me on my way to the studio today. Sokol did. He biked by. And he's like, Joel. I was like, all right, what's up, Sok man? So
Whoa, that's so cool.
yeah, so we're coming full circle. And like, I don't know if it's a compliment. It's like, hey, we needed to stand in for the guy with cancer, but whatever.
But they do have a similarity, and I did think this night was special. This is not the only cancer benefit that shows up at the Creek in the Cave in the archives, but this was a night when everybody came together to try to help out.
Yeah, this was a very special night where a community was like established and we raised a significant amount of money. And like, I talk about like comedy raising me. This was like, because I organized that. I made the Kickstarter. I wrote the show. I told everyone about it. I probably booked you. And it's just like, that was me like kind of contributing to the community as opposed to like just being a beneficiary of it.
Yeah,
So that was like a hallmark where like, kind of establishing some character, which is hard to do in a creatively competitive landscape.
yeah.
And then here we are. And I'll say that nice note, and then we are giving the money to a tumor.
And is that Reed Failer dressed up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's Reed Failer. You can see we did a good job with his lumps and carrying him off. Really had to celebrate the cancer through and through. Nice photos here. I look like a Bulgarian strongman, which is, and these are all taken, but this one I look photoshopped in. That's just a floating head right there.
yeah.
And then, you know, we did do the obligatory. This was like late stage millennial. We'll give camera the finger because I did fuck cancer was a thing. So I think that's probably why we took
Yeah,
that
I think
photo.
so.
I, Cabin.
Cabin.
Oh my gosh. Thursday nights will never be the same. And, like, I think the hardest part about Cabin was that we all loved that space, we all loved that show, and then they closed and they didn't renovate the facade for, like, until post-COVID, so there was a 5-year span where you had to walk down 2nd Avenue and think, "What used to be?" And so the adrenaline you get from doing Cabin was awesome. I don't even know what this bit was, but I'm obviously having a great time, and these glasses make me look like I was Private Pile.
So why do you think this was a Thursday night show? Was it a weekly or a
It
monthly?
was a weekly.
Was a Thursday weekly show at Cabin. Why do you think that show worked?
I think it worked well, like, if you're in college and we're all kinda, like, early to mid-20s at this time, In college, you go out on Thursday nights. That's the big going out night. So coming here is like, I was like 24, 25, like having a place to go and party on a Thursday night felt very at home because there's not that much going out on. People aren't throwing their one nighters. So like the Thursday belonged to, we congregate in this one place and we watch these shows, and getting booked on those shows, like that's like a chance for like everyone in the city to see your 10 minutes, because like you get booked there, then you get booked a bunch of other places.
Yeah, that's true. I this is back when industry came to shows.
Yeah, back when there was an industry.
Can you insert the bang, bang, bang? Yeah.
Sorry, I know you're trying to sell it, but
No, I mean, that's part of why we're doing this, and, like, instead of just making a book of, like, the 100 best photos or whatever, like, I do think we've kinda lost some things, and I don't think industry is gonna come in and replace it, and so I'm really interested, like, I have a theory that part of why Cabin worked is that the theater was in the back, and there was a separate bar area where people could congregate, and I think you had a lot of people who just drifted over to Cabin. And I think a lot of people in the community, just when they were done with shows nearby, they would come by and hang out in that bar area.
and it was easy to get home to Bushwick or Astoria, which is the two neighborhoods where comedians lived at the time. So like it's kind of on the way back where it wouldn't be too hard getting home afterwards. So you can
Yes.
stay there till like 12 or 1 and it's absolutely fine.
Yeah. All right. And then we're at another Creek Awards.
Creek Awards, my fake dad, Brooklyn Ron Krasnow.
This is 2014, August of 2014. And you said you went to Chris's,
I was the best man in Welty's wedding.
and there you are.
There he is, and like Welty, just a good lump of coal. Yeah, I'm noticing a theme of just walking around with a cigar in my mouth that I really need to bring back. Like I kind of like that look. Scarf, cigar, and of course, scantily clad once again.
Why work out if you're not going to share it with the people?
Absolutely. And like they started like naked comedy shows. I was like, I get to take off the rest of them. Great. Like no one had like people were like upset about that, and like I was just like, yeah, I think I did more naked comedy shows than anybody. Like I stupidly I used a tape from that as my like festival submission. I blurred it out, but I was like, this is a good set. And like people were really upset by that, but whatever. If you got it, flaunt it. And then here, just more Wildcats wildcatting. I think we did a bit where we put a fish in a mailbox and all that. And then looking resplendent in my scarf. And then doing silly sight gags. Because Ron was like a beloved comedy also ran. And he was having like a nice, like, he was very sentimental about this moment. And I upstaged him by putting on these silly glasses. It's just like, Ron, we have the opportunity, and I'm gonna do a dumb sight gag, which I recall it worked pretty well. And somehow even less clothes. Let's go. This is another Body Snatchers. We're running it back, and you had to do it. I don't even know who I could have been playing. Who was British? Was it an Austin Powers thing? Well, it'll be lost to the sands of time.
Yeah, if you don't know, I don't know, because I tell you one thing I failed on is I have not taken enough notes. It's just been a whole thing just to keep up with the editing and posting, and then captioning, or, like, I don't know, maybe I should start, like, a bunch of voice memos after the show, annoy the car drivers while I'm on
But
my way
but
home.
people do it for you. Like everyone likes to, oh, like I've got pretty good recall, but here they're, oh, you stumped me once out of like 75 times. I think that's a fair success ratio. And then we go to Stick or Treat. And at this show, my favorite photo you ever took, like you crushed it with these. Look at the moment. We did a spit take gag where we just spat on we did, like, spit takes going back and forth. I think we did it, like, 9 times where, like, it's funny, then it's not funny, then it's not funny, then kinda funny, then you just keep doing it and the laughs increase. And just look at the action shot there. And then here we have look at the blood spatter as I smack Eli with a severed penis. You see the blood coming off of his face and like, have you done sports photography? Because you're doing sports photography in these moments.
Yeah, I did have to change my, shutter speeds for Wildcats. Actively did have to do that, yeah.
And then I like this one a lot just because the background is so rich. It's like a Renaissance painting, and you see everyone's getting ready for their shtick or treat, and you see Krusty the Clown there, and like I like that I seem like I'm kind of like the guy at the end of The Shining in this photo. I'm looking into the camera like I know what happened.
Yeah, I miss the backstage of the old Littlefield. It was a larger backstage and more I think more people had incidental conversations because the room was conducive to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and having the and like you go back to Cabin, like so much about how you enjoy comedy is like the shape of the room. And like that goes for a party or a social situation or the backstage hang where Littlefield, like you get that little runway going up to the stage where like then you can have a moment. You think you've done a lot of good work there over the years. Like that's like your signature location. And okay, this is ironic. So here I am making fun of Welty for having a broken arm. I'm pointing at it. I'm actively mocking it. And then earlier this year, I got hit by a bus. I broke my arm. So, did I deserve it? You tell me. There I am mocking him.
You got hit by a bus?
Yeah, you should see the bus. No, I got hit by a bus on my bicycle, and, you know, kind of my left arm is kind of screwed up. But from a financial perspective, hopefully the best thing that ever happened to me. The sun got in the driver's eyes. He passed me in the same lane, and like I barrel rolled onto my left arm. So these things happen, but I was asking for it. And then here, this is right before I quit drinking for good. You could see the bloat. You could see I don't look entirely healthy here.
You don't look comfortable.
No, and like you with drinking, like you kind of know you need to make a change before you need to make a change. And so I think this was like right before the end because like there was like a 6 month span where I got pretty bad. And like this night, like I got drunk too much too quickly. I had to leave a Creek Awards too soon, which like if I was there right now, like I would pay $1,000 to go to a Creek Awards tonight. Like
Yeah,
it would be awesome. There would be nothing better to me in the world. And like you squander these golden moments because you don't know any better. Like no one pulls you aside. They're like, hey, these are the good times. You'll remember these forever. So like I think that's like one of the costs of being an addict.
yeah. This is September of 2015.
Yeah, so it's taking. So like I think I had a really bad year like before then. I'm sorry if my chronology is bad here. And then Creek Awards were just awesome. I think like I still have my Creek Awards. They did a nice job. Like, why was it an owl iconography with the creek? Like,
I don't know, it was Rebecca's.
I think it was supposed to be Sean Patton actually. I think Sean Patton, like, because she said he was kind of owly. I remembered that as I asked it.
Yeah, we'll have to ask her. I'm gonna have her on, but her interview's gonna be like 6 freaking hours, so
Yeah. You're gonna have to go Charlie Rose mode for her. But, like, and, like, I really liked you can kinda see it in the background here, that they made a logo of the creek with all of the names of like, performers who were booked there
yeah.
consistently. Like, that was a nice time.
This is October of 2015. This is I can't remember the name of the venue
You got lucky
in the
with that
city.
backdrop. That's a great photo. Just I matched the backdrop perfectly.
Yeah, I was very happy about that.
Yeah, like, you have a turquoise tile with some texture in it. Let's fucking go. For your purposes,
Yeah, I was pulling everyone over there. You in front of this wall.
when I go in, I matched it. And like, maybe I wore this shirt a little bit too much over the years. It's possible. I mean, we're seeing this blue flannel get too much love. Whose wedding is
So
this?
this is Wayne's wedding.
Oh, that's Wayne's wedding.
Yeah, and so I put stars over some of the photos because people doing the middle finger gets the Instagram doesn't like it, but I missed there's so many middle fingers and fake penises in this.
Yeah, fake penises, fine. Middle fingers, we're gonna get rid of half of
Yeah,
them.
it's
That's
like
the policy of this
I
show.
censored some of the photos, but not enough of the photos.
And I think Wayne's wedding, like, you're supposed to bring a gift. I didn't really know any better. I found a toaster in the trash can, and I gave him that as a wedding gift, which, like, not a great wedding gift.
Yeah, but I went ahead and pulled, like, kind of a personal moment just because there's so many comedians at this wedding.
Yeah, and
Will and Julia,
yeah, and this is
um
I just like hamming it up at a wedding, yeah, like a wedding table. Like that's how you should like. If your wedding tables don't look like that, you did a bad job with your guest seating
and
arrangements.
by the way, there were 30 something pictures just of you guys goofing off at the table and just trying to narrow it down. It took me a while. Pre-production on this is a whole thing.
And then wedding dance floor, there should okay. So tangent, there should be a bar called Family Wedding where it only plays like the B-52s. I want to dance with somebody. If you put that in East Williamsburg, that would be the city's hottest bar. Like, give me a bar called Family Wedding.
Yeah, give him a Mr. Wonderful, perpetual royalty and go to town.
Yeah, and then great Larry the Cable Guy shot from a sticker treat, right? I don't think I would wear that normally.
Yeah, this is, November of 2015.
Yeah, and like I think we're about to cut off another penis here. So, and like really, I got a lot of I got a lot of runway out of that bit.
Yeah, and then, we also the other photo there
Yeah,
is
there's one in the middle because
yeah,
this is the Eric Bergstrom
yeah,
where you get like Eric Bergstrom, like we raised so much money for that guy. And I think like things went very well for him. He got a Comedy Central half hour right after. But Eric Bergstrom was a one-liner comedian, so it was the night of 100 one-liners, right? That was a show?
it was and, I think Rebecca produced it, but produced the heck out of it because it went like that.
It was, and I remember they were so rigid in the lineups, like, because you were queued up in the creek, the green room was like on that little like fight fire escape,
Yeah.
and the line to go up went all the way down the fire escape. So like my biggest memory of that night is, just the cue to go on stage being the best run production I'd ever been a part of in comedy.
Yeah, but there's, like, one photo of each comedian from that night because I had, like, maybe 60 seconds to get a picture. That's how fast the night was going, but it was great. If you're gonna do 100 comedians, it has to go that fast, yeah.
It has to go that fast. And like, because none of them are going to stick to one line. Comedians like their spotlight. They're gonna do their thing. They're gonna make it last a little bit longer, and then we go back to the same sticker treat.
So, this is a stick or treat in
Oh,
July of 2016.
I got in so much trouble after this show.
Oh,
Yeah, cause okay, we could see why here. So we reprised our blue collar comedy tour. We have Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, and Larry the Cable Guy. And this was taped for NBC/CISO, and they had professional crews, and we went last. I don't know why. So here we are again with the sports photography. We have the cutting. I bit off Jeff Foxworthy's penis. That was the gag. And we got so much blood all over their cables that they had to replace them. So after the show, you can see how covered in blood I am right there. They pulled us aside and then they yelled at they're like, You ruined our equipment." It's like, well, we didn't know. And like, here we have the payoff of the gag. We have the come here sign, and then another great action shot. Here we are coming on stage with and ending the show covered in blood and cum, and Eli somehow unscathed. We are disgusting. He's fine, which just shows something about the power dynamics of this show. Um, I'll just say that I found this shirt in a woman's nursing home, and I really liked that shirt.
It's good.
It's a good shirt, and like, as if we didn't have enough coming, here's a little bit more of it. Do I have the
Yeah.
most I must have the most bodily fluids of anyone you're working with.
So now we're at Stick or Treat in this is the actual Stick or Treat in October of 2016. So that year we had 2. We had one for TV and one that was like the actual Stick or Treat.
The actual sticker tree, and here I am. I'm playing Wee Man, which as like a 6'4" comedian. That is the bit. Oh, Mindy, did you really need to block out the penis here?
It's like I was thinking about
We let so many fly.
I know. I let too many fly. We're gonna have to edit them out in post.
And then
These
but
are the ones I got to. This is how many.
and then here we have the hot you can see the hot dog flying in the air because part of it was just flying around. And, if you have, you need to be memorable at these shows. And I dare say that I was always memorable at these shows, albeit looking at these photos, maybe a little one note. Was I playing the hits every time? It's all just, it's all just castration for a bit. And then there's more and more stars on all of, we'll call this part the constellation.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this might just be a gun, so that's okay. We have gun and penis blocked out there.
Yep. Yeah, the most iconic shot from this, the one that I think I want to use is this one because you've got the trick or treat sign, got the knitting factory, um, there's a fake penis, a gun, you're covered in blood. I feel like that hits a lot of notes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a triple threat. I sing, I dance, I write. And then nice little post-show glow. Mugging it up with my boys. And then this is actually, I think this is our last one, but this is a great shot here. We're just like, look at the blurred background here. We talk a little bit about sobriety. We talk a little bit about just being in the moment. I feel like this is like the picture of my youth right here.
Yeah, so what's interesting to me, this is Halloween of 2016. And yeah, it's just oh, this is Body Snatchers.
Yeah, but post show, all
Post
cleaned
show,
up. So we have like
post Body Snatchers.
this and this were taken a half hour away from each other. So, like, if that's not a sign of a life well lived, I don't know what is.
And so the thing is, that's Halloween of 2016, and then I don't see you again. Uh,
I stopped drinking.
so
I stopped drinking September 2016 for sure. And then, like, I was still doing comedy. I still did a lot, but, like, I was sort of like change, figuring out what was next for me.
yeah, can you tell us about that? Like, what was the moment where you were like, you know what, I've done this, it's been really great, but it's not serving me.
And, really like in getting sober, right? Like I looked at my family and the world I came upon was like a long line of addicts, like the Mike Lawrence joke, like my family tree has a car wrapped around it. And it's just like, oh, I need to build stability for myself. So around this time, I started writing. I started working on set to kind of like create a career. And I started working towards the life I have now, where it's just like, yeah, I'm an artist, but like, and looking at addiction, like, I feel like being a comedian is its own form of addiction. You need validation. Like, this joke hit, this joke hit, this joke hit, this joke didn't. And the set spirals where I need validation so badly that literally every line out of my mouth needs approval. And I just didn't want approval. I wanted to live life more on my own terms.
Yeah. Wow. And so was stepping back part of just having a healthier routine? Was that part of it?
Yeah, I think it did help me a little bit. And like, I still did shows, but like, you know, you're putting on the blinders to pursue comedy where like a lot of times you put a career over yourself. And like it's been like a decade journey to like put myself first and like have like a very healthy, well-balanced life that ended up like getting more like artistic satisfaction from doing the opposite. And like I would live or die for comedy. You can see how I debase myself just to get a laugh, but like being like a steadier individual is like it's more like a sustenance, and like it's the whole foundation works really well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what is the book about and when does it come out?
Oh, well, my book is Honolulu Blues. So basically, v- my dad was special needs, and his special interest was the Detroit Lions. And I had a he my grandmother was a pedophile. She molested my dad a lot. So I trace trauma in my family from the Lions' last championship in '57 to the present day. So I get into like the familiar forces that were for addiction, and then I kind of changed my own life, as I got my shit together enough to help him have a really beautiful death. And so like that's the crux of the book. And like I use the football thing to make it be self-help for bros without them realizing it's self-help.
Wow, that's incredible.
I mean, it's sick. It comes out July 14th.
July
You're shooting the
14th.
party. And like it's already starting to do like it's picking up steam. Like I think it's gonna do I don't think there's any books like it where I think it's just like because comedy, like you don't get to leave something behind. To have a physical product and like the I think with books, like the reader needs to be engaged like all the time. Like I think that's a challenge. And like that kind of opened doors for me. So now what I do, I ghostwrite every I ghostwrite celebrity memoirs. If they're sober, I write their memoir. So that's my gig.
That's so cool.
So like I think it'd be like a cool trajectory if like I'm writing my 4th sobriety memoir right now, and, like, only Joel Walkowski's on one of it, but, like, to think deeply about sobriety and, like, everything that brought me there, like,
Okay.
I think that's kind of the journey we took today,
Yeah.
but, like, that's the w it's my fake penis these days. Thoughtful sobriety, like, reflections, that's my cutting off my dick.
Yeah. Well, I feel that there was a time in comedy where there was this really big push that like you needed to be doing 5 shows a night and, go, go, go. And I do think, part of maturing is sometimes as an artist, the best thing you can do for yourself is pivot your practice, which is what you've done. It doesn't mean that the time that you spent on stage didn't develop your skill. It's just, I actually do think more people should step away from comedy. Like it does at some point need to go somewhere, I feel. And I'm so heartened to hear your story.
And it's easy like, I learned how to be a comedian before I needed to learn how to be a person. And like, if the order was swapped, I think things would have worked out differently for me. But like comedy and having community and having people who cared about me that I learned to care about, like that just gave me emotional agency and it took me away from the stage. And like, I think the real maturity is being at peace with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have not had a drink in a decade.
Let's go.
I don't remember when I quit drinking. I had to quit drinking in order I had, like, some health problems, and, I kept having to go for tests where, like, you have to fast for 24 hours before the test and stuff, and they were running all these tests, And then at the same time, I met my husband who has never drank. He just simply does not drink and never has. And our whole entire courtship was stone cold sober. And our dates were like high school. Like we went to the movies and we had popcorn, and then we went walking in Park Slope afterwards. I do think there's this thing when you're younger where you feel that if you're sober, your work is going to suffer because you're not going to be as daring and brash. But I think a lot of my best work has been since I no longer drink and I take care of myself.
Yeah, and like we went through all these pictures. So the thing we didn't talk about here is like before I moved to New York, I drank myself to death and I still couldn't get sober. So I moved to a place where nobody knew me. And I did something where drinking was always excused. And like I kind of ran from my own like addict, and I created a wonderful community and career and like so many people I love, but I wasn't going to outrun it forever. And like ultimately I needed to do my hierarchy of values, and just being healthy and being comfortable in my own skin, it needed to come first at some point.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much. It's been a joy to talk with you, and tell us again about your book.
Yeah, Honolulu Blues. The publisher came up with the subtitle. I did is how loving a losing football team created a winning man. It's out July 14th from Simon and Schuster, Matt Holt, Ben Bella. And if there's any interested in my story, like it's a funny fucking book. There's no funny books, but there's any interest, please check it out. It's at all major retailers, and for authors, pre-orders mean the world. So if you feel like smashing that, I'll give you your money back if you don't like it. I think this thing is solid.
All right, track him down if you don't like the book. Furthermore, track him down if you do like the book. Joel Walkowski, thank you so much.
I'm taking pictures of you. I'm taking pictures of everything.
Do you remember your first joke?
What do James Brown and Korea have in common? They've both got soul.
I'm taking pictures of you. I'm taking pictures of everything. A woman likes to roam.